Good morning.
Hey guys. Morning.
So thank you so much for joining us today. For those of you out, and I guess it's the Facebook and YouTube world out there, I would love to introduce Tricia Turner. She is coming to us from, you're in the Houston, Texas area?
I am.
And she's with the Tricia Turner Properties Group. And so she's here to chat with us today just to talk about her team building, and just lots of great stuff as far as like how to grow your business and what we have going on in the market right now. So thank you, Tricia.
Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, you guys. Love this. Love StreamYard too, you guys.
Yeah. StreamYard's great.
It's so great. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself, your team, and what you got going on there in Texas.
You got it. Hey, everybody. Tricia Turner here. I am a broker here in the Houston area. Been in real estate a little over 28 years. I've done everything you can possibly do in real estate. I was even a lender for 6 years. Went through the mortgage industry crash. Owned my own independent brokerage. And that's actually still in existence, but we just don't have any affiliation with it because eXp came knocking on my door. My friends that were eXp did, and we were like, you have got to see this business model, because basically when you're running an independent brokerage, you're running like a Blockbuster. And as we all know, in 2020, Blockbuster, I think there's one left.
Yeah.
And, like Jay Kinder and Michael Reese are my guys with eXp, and they're like, basically, you've got a Blockbuster and eXp is Amazon or Netflix. You tell me what you think is going to be the future. And so naturally, once I looked at that and looked at the business model, immediately got my things in play to move my broker's license over under eXp, took a group of agents with me. When I did this split from my own company to eXp, I had 50 agents within my own company. Didn't really have a team. I was in production and then just kind of handling and managing them and giving them support, broker support, of course. But then with the eXp model, for me, it was all about helping the agents grow always. And so when I looked at the eXp model and all the training, the best thing for me to do as a broker was form my own team. So that's how we formed the Tricia Turner Properties Group within eXp. So it has been amazing, and we are in year 2 with them.
Awesome.
Wonderful. And you're tracking to do how much business this year?
We're at about 42 million right now. So our goal was 75. We're really on target to probably hit 80. So super excited because our team as a team is in its infancy. We've literally been together a year at the most. Some of them have only been with me about 10 months. So super cool.
That's awesome.
Great.
So when you came over and decided to form your own team, how many people came with you from your brokerage, or did you leave out everybody?
Yeah, when I left my brokerage, I brought about 20 agents with me. Some went independent, kind of were doing their own thing within eXp. A couple of them formed small teams. And, I don't know how it is there in Tampa, but the average agent traditionally sells, 4 to 6 homes a year. Right. And when I had my own brokerage, that became real apparent to me. And in fact, in my second year of having the brokerage, it was really obvious that they were struggling. And I'm a big believer in everybody living an abundant life. It's how I live. I've struggled years ago going through a divorce and the mortgage industry crashed, so I know what it's like to be scared and alone. And so that's a big passion of mine. And when I had my brokerage, it became crystal clear that they really needed help. The average agent does not know how to sell a lot of homes, Yeah. Most of those big box companies only give them enough training and tools to pacify them. They'll give them enough to maybe be comfortable, maybe pay their bills. Never usually is it enough to live abundantly. And most of them form cliques. They'll help you if you want to join their team. They'll help you if they're going to charge you for coaching. It's always gimme, gimme, gimme. And it's never just let me give it to you. And so when I opened my own brokerage, that was the goal, was let me give it to you and not charge you. I just want to help you. But, the average agent, they still don't use the right systems, tools, and all of that. So when I looked at eXp and I looked at all the training that it's run, oh my gosh, like it's top producers that are in the company, all the people that were coming over when I came over were like broker owners, mega producers. And for me, it was like, holy crap, the promised land, I'm finding like-minded people, and we can help these agents, and we can form this like army of broker and team leaders that are out there really making a difference in the real estate industry. And so when I grabbed more agents and formed a team, it was to help them live an abundant life. And that's what we're doing, making a difference always.
I love it. That's super inspiring. And I noticed, as you say that, I noticed the quote behind you on the board, driven by passion, inspired by people. I love that.
And
Yep,
I think
and that's been our slogan for years. And that's how I live, because when the mortgage industry crashed in '08, I was a lender at that time. And I also went through a divorce at that time. And I have 3 kids, and they were young at that time. One of them even being special needs. So 8, 9, and 10 were really challenging for me. I went through some really dark times in 2010 because my ex-husband was also a real estate agent. So he was the one providing me leads, buyer leads. So naturally, with my divorce, there went that. And then the mortgage industry crashed where nobody could get a loan. And so and then I moved. It was just a trifecta of a storm on me. And it was really scary, but I just am a hustler. I had to take care of my kids, period. And so in 2010, end of 2010, I let my mortgage license go, reactivated my sales license in real estate, and just was like, every day I'm hustling. And that's the way my life is, you know?
Yeah.
Take care of my kids. So I have a passion for the people that their heart is good, their heart is pure. They just need the right direction and the right guidance. And when I went through all of that, I didn't ever have anybody that reached out to me and was like, hey, let me show you the way. Hey, let me help you. There was all these big bucks companies like, oh, no, we're not going to show you, you know? And so it was literally like 5 years of let me try this, trying to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
And literally, when I met Jay Kinder and Michael Reese, it was when I had my own brokerage, and I joined their National Association of Expert Advisors. And that's when I got plugged into their world, and it opened up all these doors to then eXp. It just led into so many other opportunities. Yeah. And for me, like I tell them all the time, y'all changed my life. And for the agents out there that don't have that, it's scary. And it's only going to get scarier as time progresses, you know?
Yeah.
I agree. And that was one of the things, it's funny because we actually explored eXp a couple of years ago. I always throw him under the bus about this, but I loved it the first time I saw it, but it was scary, the whole idea of going strictly virtual, all of that. So, and it was so just new, right? The whole idea of it was so new. So at the same time, we were being recruited by a KW office. And so we ended up going there. And I don't want to say anything bad about any brokerages. It was just that we felt, I think when you're in a brick and mortar, or you're in a certain franchise, the thought process is very narrow, right? This is what they teach you and this is what it is. And we just kept feeling like, there has to be something more than this. And so when we were in Tom Ferry coaching, and we just kept seeing like all these people jumping over eXp. And these are people that we would pay to go here, speak on stage and all this stuff. And we're like, what is going on? And we knew Veronica Figueroa.
Oh, we love her.
Yeah. And so he actually reached out and called and he said, okay, what's going on? What's happening over here? Why is everybody going? And we very quickly made the decision. We went and had lunch with her. And it's just been like you said, I can't even put into words how much it is a life-changing experience, because you're open to so many different people. It's such a different culture. And then even for my team members, like you were saying, like as you grow a team, everybody has a different idea of what they want. Different people want to go in different directions, and to have those resources of other team leaders who are willing to share, maybe I don't know something, but there's somebody else that does. And I can say to my team, hey guys, talk to this person, you know, and it's just, I can't express how amazing it's been, and just the love and everything that everybody pours into each other. And it's so cool.
Well, here's another thing that was like huge for me. So when I was just running my own brokerage, of course, I was the top producer here. And so there was no one to brainstorm with. There was nobody to bounce ideas off of. It was just literally, it was lonely, you know? Yeah. And so when I made the decision to switch over, it was right before the eXp annual conference. And so I think that year it was in Louisiana. So we went to conference. It was just me. I was the only one from my office. None of the other agents went. I went with Jay and Mike. And I sat there during the conference, and the leadership at eXp was putting up these vision slides. And I'm all about growth. I'm innovative. I've watched the future. I have huge goals. You know, this isn't my end all. I have a lot coming at me. And so one of their slides that they put across, it showed a picture of the world, and it said 2020 world domination. And I was watching that, and I was like, holy crap. You know, it's like, I want to be part of something huge. And as I sat there at that time, eXp, there was only 14,000 agents. This was in October of 2018. There was only 14,000 agents. We were only in 49 states. Now look, this is end of August 2020. It's global. All 50 states, there's over 30,000 agents. And for me, it's like, When I joined and I started like really paying attention to who was getting on, I started meeting all the team leaders, all the other brokers across the nation. The one thing that became clear to me was this is a bunch of top performers. This is a bunch of producers. This is a bunch of heavy hitters. And when you put that many people with that much production, that much ambition, that much drive and money under one umbrella, you can't stop that. So for me, when people say they don't see it, I'm like, how can you not see it? Are you out of your mind? You know? How do you not want to be part of that? Because here's the deal. We're all a bunch of drivers. We're like, all of us are type A's. We're high D's and I's, and we pull along some people that are organizers to help us. But for the most part, we got this vision, it's like we're taking over. And for these agents and other brokers that don't see it, I'm like, I really want you to, because we really are trying to help you. We're trying to bring you along right now and let you be part of something that's going to take over, because it will.
Yeah,
it really will.
That was one of the things that we noticed. So I relate a lot of things back to sports. And if you want to get better at anything in life, especially sports, you're going to play with or play against people that are better than you. So when we started seeing, when you're in Tom Ferry Elite, you're already in the 1% class of realtors nationwide. And when we're in that group and we're seeing the top of the 1%ers start making this move, we're like, man, this is amazing. And now we get to mastermind with people like you. We're trying to get to 40, 50 million. You've already done it. So now you can help guide us. Hey, this is what we ran into. This is what you do here. Yep. And it's one giant collaboration with the smartest realtors in the industry.
There's no other brokerage, there's no other model anywhere in the world with real estate that you can do this with. Like you were just talking about collaboration. For me, when I was in my own brokerage, it was I was taking, of course, everything Jay and Mike were teaching in their organization, and I was bringing that into my company. But at the end of the day, it was still just what they were teaching, which is great. And I love them dearly. But now, because of our collaboration, like Veronica Figueroa, I love her to death. She's a dear friend. I can reach out to her at any time and have a conversation. I have friends, dear friends, all around the United States that we talk all the time. They're team leaders, they're other broker owners, and we share everything. We do collaboration calls on the third Friday of every month. And every time we get off the call, it's like, there's so much energy. You don't want the call to end. And we learn stuff every single time. We're taking notes, like, what are you using for this? Like last Friday's call was about an ISA service. I was struggling here in my company because I went through 4 ISA services, and my friend Nick Good, he was like, oh, have you tried this company? And so it was like, boom, and I'm writing it down, and all of us on the call were just, it's amazing. And we do these mastermind groups. Before COVID, we used to go and do them quarterly where we're all together. And it's like we spend, 2, 3, 4 days all together. The only time we're apart is when we're sleeping. And those things are game changers, and they're life changers, because you literally walk away from those events, fully charged up, ready to take on all this new stuff that you just learned, but just these deep relationships that will forever change your life and your business. And there's no other companies out there that have anything like that. And I think any agent or broker that doesn't yearn for that and isn't hungry for that is just crazy. I feel sorry for them.
You're right, though.
No, I agree. And I think one of the things that, you're saying, just like the collaboration's great, but the other thing that I love is that it's all across the world, like you said now, right? It's not even just in the United States, which I think is awesome, because I think a lot of times you do get stuck in your ways, or you start just kind of doing what's being done in your market. And it's opened our eyes just to so many more possibilities, so many different opportunities. But then it's also, there's so many different models, right? All different teams want to be different things. And so it's like now, your team and our team could be 2 totally different visions, but you have those people that you can go to that align with your values, what your vision is, that can help guide you. And I think that's just huge.
Well, think about it like this too. Like the traditional team model, say at Remax, Keller Williams, whatever. If you are part of a team and you're not the team leader, you're just one of the agents on the team, they're always concerned with, the commission split. That's always their main concern. So their goal, most of those team members, is to get off the team. They want to get to a point where they do enough production to not be part of your team. And so what ends up happening in that model is you, as the team leader, invest all this time, money, and everything in training and pouring into them. And a year or 2, sometimes 3, they leave and they go off as some independent. Sometimes they're successful, sometimes they're not. And then they're pretty much no longer affiliated with you as a whole. But with the eXp model, with a team, we're always pouring into them, coaching, training, spending money, spending time, pouring value into them. And the goal is to get them off the team should they choose. But here's the beautiful thing is that if they choose to go off the team and be on their own or form their own team, they're still affiliated with you. So you still have their best interest at heart. You still want to give to them because when they're successful, you're successful. And everyone is successful in front of you. And so it's the biggest, I mean, when you look at that, when there's that many people dedicated to each other's success, tell me where there's another real estate business model like that. I'd love to see it.
Yeah.
There's not. And then when you look at like what's coming against, I study stuff like crazy. And so when you look at what's coming against us, especially with, Zillow having their own brokerage. And I know a lot of people are Zillow partners and I love them and I appreciate them for all that they do, but that is also a competitor of ours. And we've got Redfin, we've got Open Door, and we've got OfferPad, and those are disruptors. If you're an individual agent at some brokerage that doesn't have the capabilities to fight that, or doesn't even pay attention to what's coming on, or is in total denial about what the future is for real estate, I feel sorry for them. But with us, because we are all drivers, it's like, I'm never going to let my team go out of business. I'm never going to go out of business. I got a family to take care of. And I know you guys are the same. And I know everybody in eXp that we collaborate with is the same. So it's like, there's that comfort level of, you know what, we're going to pull all of our resources, our money, whatever it takes to fight against anything coming against us. And again, it's that comfort, it's that security that nothing else can bring you.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So true. Yeah.
Right. Yep.
No, go ahead.
No, you're right.
We always start talking over each other, so I'm like waiting.
You're right. The other thing was just the amount of information from making the switch. One of the biggest things that we realized was like national expert agents, advisors that we were just talking about earlier. We didn't even realize there's all that information. And then there's all the masterminds, the collaborations within eXp. There's so much information in as there should be, right? Because there's a million ways to do real estate and there's a million different ways to do it successfully as well. So you have to choose what's right for you or what's right for that team member and then hone in on that. And switching from eXp, we've realized there's literally so much information coming at you that you have to dial it down on what do you know you want to focus on because there's so much available to you right out of the gate.
I'm going to say something and it may sound rude and I hope it doesn't. But I look at, because again, I study stuff like crazy. So I look at independent brokerages, I look at RE/MAX offices, Keller Williams, Berkshire Hathaway, all of those. And when you look at like they post their top 20 and the people that are selling all of them, when you look at like their homes that they're selling per year, like some people post, I'm in their top 2%. And it's like, what kind of production did they do? They sold 6 houses this year. It's like, seriously? Like I wouldn't even, great, that's fine if that's their goals. But if you're trying to lead people, I believe you should lead by example. And there's so many people out there that are now a life coach or a success coach. And it's like, what are you successful at? Because there's too many people out there that are trying to guide others and they've never done it themselves. Us within the eXp model, yourselves, myself, and everybody that we collaborate with, we are leading by example. We're not going to lie to you. We're not going to misguide you. We're all together. We're here to make it a difference and help the agents be productive because we're not going to tell you something if it doesn't work. We're not going to tell you something if we don't know. We've all done it. We're doing it. We're in the trenches. And I think that's the biggest difference within eXp. It's not a bunch of wage earners trying to teach. It's a bunch of people in the trenches, in production, leading by example, and then giving back to the agents and helping them. And again, there's nobody out there doing it.
Yeah.
Right. It's one of and I had this conversation with another agent recently. It was the difference of coming from a KW, for example, where the people teaching you are theorists. A lot of what really bothers me is a lot of coaches are failed agents.
100%.
And took the classes to become coaches. And I'm thinking, well, you weren't even successful when you were an agent. How are you going to coach anybody? And then you move over to eXp and it's like, everybody's available to share their knowledge with you. But the difference is instead of being a theorist on it, we're learning from practitioners.
Yes.
We're here and we've already done it. You've already done it. So we can teach everybody that wants to do or get to the level that we're all at because we've done it, not just because we got certified to be a coach, because we paid some money to do to a company.
Absolutely. And here's another thing that was like one of the big game changers. You know, like I always hear people when they're coming from like a discount brokerage or something, they're like, well, I want to keep all of my money. Well, most of the agents that work at those discount brokerages don't make any money. They are your average agent. They sell 4 to 6 homes a year. So if that's what you surround yourself with, that's what you become comfortable with. And I don't know about other people's goals and dreams, and I don't judge, but my goals and dreams are huge. And so, you know, years ago, one of my goals was to make $100,000 a year. And when I did it, I was like, holy crap. But it wasn't like, let's stop here. I did that. It was like, okay, now let's do 200. Now let's just keep doubling. And then when I got affiliated with Mike and Jay, well, of course, then it was like, oh, the sky's the limit. So then they kept upping their goals. I'm like, well, crap. You know, they're like, we want to make $1 million a month. I'm like, well, holy crap, I got to up mine too. So it's like, we're always being leveled up, you know, not that we feel inferior ever. It's like, I want to do that. You know, because we're masterminding together, we're collaborating together. And when you are around the right people that are doing really well and they're really successful, and you watch why they do it, they don't do it because they're hoarding their money and they're buying fancy cars and they're taking big vacations. They do it so they can give back. Like half the people that mentor me and guide me, they don't have to work, and they'll never have to work another day in their lives. Yeah. They work just as hard as you and I do. They're just not out selling houses. They're out helping us train others. They're leading us. They're helping with our mindset. They're helping us grow. And they don't have to. They do it because they want to. And that's what you find in leadership at eXp. And you don't find that anywhere else, you know?
Especially, I think, for those top producers, like you said, I think it does get to a point where it gets to be a little lonely, because I feel like when you do start getting to the top of the brokerage, like you said, you'll start running into problems. That's where we were at. We were really at a crossroads. We were hitting a wall. We weren't getting to that next level, right? And we had those goals, but we didn't know where to go, who to talk to. And then, you know, like you said, like when you're also on other teams that are within that brokerage and you're kind of almost competing against each other, it wasn't that same collaboration that we have, where it's really nice because we do talk to team leaders, but they're not even in our market. They don't mind sharing what they're doing because they're not competition. They're not trying to sell the house down the street. So that was like I think for us, that was a huge game changer. Mm-hmm. But I think that the other big thing is that, like, we are in the trenches every day. And even though we have these big goals, there's days, I can tell you, yesterday I had one of those days, right? It was a rough day. Like, just everything was coming at me. I was like, what am I doing wrong today? And, but, you know, so you still need that support. And it is so inspiring to be around people. And it's like, so to keep your eye on that prize and to still be, you know, motivated every day. Like we all get in moods, even as team leaders, sometimes we get knocked down. And I tell Veronica, like, she was telling us about the book Rocket Fuel. I'm like, but you're my rocket fuel, because I get on the phone with her and I'm like, okay, I got to keep going. I don't quit, you know? So I think that that's just been the biggest thing for us too, is just, and things have been so different, right? For all of us, our worlds all got flipped upside down.
Right. Oh my gosh.
So great, all of that. But we have 3 kids as well. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, we were just moving. Everything was going great. We had all these big goals, and it was like we were just kicked in the face. Like, now 3
all of a sudden became teachers, right? Like, we're running these successful businesses, and hey, guess what? Put all that on hold. You're going to go teach your 3 kids. I barely graduated school, right? So I don't want to be a teacher.
No, I didn't sign up for this.
Yeah, but we got through it. Kids are back to school. It's all good. One other thing I'll tell you that is, it makes me want to go back even more into production, just from the competitive side of things with other agents, are seeing how many people within our group are becoming stock millionaires.
Yes.
With the eXp stock. And I'm like, you know what? He became a millionaire last month just with his stock. I want to do that now. And so I find myself like wanting to go out with leads now that I would have never wanted to do before.
Oh, yeah.
You don't need to. It's like, well, I mean, yeah, I want to close this house and I, you know, for sure want to help this customer and meet somebody. But on the back end, my competitive mind is like, that's some more stock.
Check this out. So when I started, my first bits of stock were bought at $8 a share. Isn't that crazy? It's like at 40 right now.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Here, I want to tell you guys something inspirational. So like when I made the switch over, when I did it, it was kind of a new thing. Not a lot of here anyway. Not a lot of brokerages had done it. And so if I could turn back the clock, I wish I would have done things a little bit differently. And Jay and Mike and I have talked about it. We wish the 3 of us would have done things a little bit differently, because they're dear friends of mine. So we've looked back at, well, we could have done it like this, and we probably would have helped more agents see the light. So when I went through all that, about the first, I would say after 3-4 months, I went through like this dark phase because, you know, when you're running your own brokerage, you're the everything. And so, you know, all the money coming in was mine. And so then when I left that model, then of course, monthly dues were going to eXp. No longer taking transaction fees or anything from that company, mine. So my income literally cut in half. And I had to think, how is it profitable, the most profitable way for a former broker owner to move over to eXp and make it be successful and still help the agents and still be able to take care of my family. And so I went through probably about 6 months of struggling, kind of like you probably will right now, because you guys are new too. And so there's a lot of transition. What about this? How do we do this? There's a lot of that. And so I went through that, and I kept remembering a conversation that Michael Reese and I had prior to me switching over. And the analogy is, you have to think of yourself on this bridge. And I'm afraid of heights. So when I get visual with it, I think of myself on this bridge on the top of like a cliff. And when you're in your comfort level, you're about to go across that bridge. So the land over here, this is your comfort land. For me, it was my independent brokerage. We were successful. Everything was running smooth. And I saw eXp on the other side of this bridge. It's glory. It's everything that I had heard was all this great things, this collaboration, this stock, this revenue, the future. It's the future. But I got to go across this bridge. And so, of course, I want to go across this bridge. Well, about halfway across that bridge, that's where things sometimes get really scary. You're at the highest point. Sometimes there's obstacles on that bridge. You didn't see them there. You're by yourself. And a lot of times, unfortunately, people will get to that point and they'll retreat because it's uncomfortable and they get scared. And it's comfortable back there. I remember what it was like back there, and I wasn't scared and I had it going on. But I can see the other side of the bridge and I see the glory over there. And I know if I just push through, I'll get there. And for me, that top of that bridge, that very high point, was in the dark few months there in eXp when I was just trying to figure everything out. And there were a couple of times I thought I could just jump back over and go over, and do my own thing again, because this is scary and I'm not sure what I'm doing here. And it was the direction of all my mentors and all the people that were guiding me. I could text them at any time and be like, hey, I'm weary. Can we jump on a call? That was what helped me get across that bridge. And that was the hardest challenge, getting from that halfway point to the finish line. But, God never brings you, the enemy always brings the most difficulties in front of you when there's glory right on the other side. So whatever you're going through, know when you got on that bridge, you raised your hand and you were like, I'm going to go across that bridge. I'm going to lead by example, and I'm going to take these agents with me so that I can provide a better life for them, a more abundant life for my family. And if you get to that point where it gets uncomfortable, just get on the phone with us. Any of us here at eXp will pull you through. We'll take you to the other side, because when you get on the other side, it is glory. And I'm a living testimony of that. So stay on that.
I love it. That's
wonderful.
Awesome.
Great analogy. Thank you.
So true.
So
You guys
Tricia,
do this, because here's something else that I would encourage you to do that has helped me here tremendously. So in real estate, networking is a big thing on how to grow your business and help others, find other agents that are like-minded with you, other brokers. Here's what I've done here. So BNI groups are a big thing. A lot of people, that's how they grow their business and they grow their network. But in most BNI groups, there's, one person from each industry. And usually if it's a successful BNI group, that industry is already full. What you need to do, and what I have found most fulfilling, is form your own. So what I did here was I named it the Preferred Partner Program. And think of it like this. When we sell one home, think of how many families are impacted by us just selling that one home. There's movers, there's insurance people, there's lenders, there's titles, there's cleaning ladies, there's lawn care. It goes on and on. The vendor list goes anywhere from 20 to 26 vendors. Now, not all of them are involved in every transaction, but they're involved in a lot of them. Yeah. So what I would encourage you to do is kind of look at who you like doing business with and reach out to those business owners and be like, hey, I'm forming my own mastermind group, my own networking, kind of like a BNI, and I want you to be a part of that. And we're going to meet, like in our group, we meet on the first Tuesday of every month. We meet for breakfast. We do 7:30 to 9. Now, because of COVID, we had to restrict our people that can be in attendance, because they're no more than like 13 right now. It's supposed to be 10, but we sneak a couple in. But our group is like 25. And then, of course, I bring in agents, my agents, into the group too. few, not all of them each time, because then you're talking about a huge group. But the goal, of course, is to grow each other's business, to become friends, so that everybody's sharing ideas. Your agents are there, they're meeting your vendors, and it's a win-win for everybody. And you'll form these amazing relationships. And the number one goal is to help local business. And you'll see, not only will you encourage and be motivational to each other, but you'll have support. You'll be able to reach out to them and be like, hey, what's going on here? Are you seeing a slowdown here? And I would definitely encourage you guys to find a local spot that you could meet at once a month and make it a commitment. It will help you tremendously.
Yeah, I love that.
Great information. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. So Tricia, where can people, you're outside of Houston, right? And where can people find you and your team and get information on your market?
Absolutely. You can reach me. Best way is triciaturner.work, and it's spelled TRICIA.Turner.work. TriciaTurner.work. Easy to find me. We're the Tricia Turner Properties Group here in Houston. We are all over Houston, and we're out here making a difference, because eXp is the future of real estate. And any agents that are watching this, they need to be reaching out to you guys, because why struggle? You know, y'all have raised your hand already and said you're here to help. I'm here to help. We're here to help them grow their business, and that's what's going to happen with eXp.
Awesome.
Right.
Thank you so much for
We
chatting
appreciate
with
your
us.
time.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me, y'all. Y'all have a great day.
Awesome. Thanks, you too.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.